7:12 today, congressional Republicans will be looking at putting the final touches on their plans to overhaul this country's tax system. GOP leadership insists it has the votes to pass, despite the fact Arizona Senator John McCain won't be there to cast his vote. He's still battling an aggressive brain tumor. Republicans say that the bill is a win for the entire economy, decreasing personal taxes and slashing the corporate tax rate. Democrats say the bill favors the rich, pointing out that many of the tax breaks benefiting the middle class families, like everybody else, will expire in 2025. And this morning, we have Senator John Kennedy joining us, a Republican from Louisiana. First of all, thank you for coming in.
You better.
First of all, let's talk about this. This is not a bipartisan bill. It is a very partisan bill. The same thing that the Republicans criticized the Obama administration for in his first term, a totally partisan bill for Obamacare, and you guys are doing the same thing.
Well, we've asked the Democrats to join us, but the problem with there are 4 or 5 Democrats would like to join us, but they've been told by their base, their Democratic base, which has white-hot hatred for the president, if they cooperate with us, they'll face a primary challenge.
And the Democrats are saying, in all honesty, in their opinion, that while a lot of people will see tax decreases, it basically favors corporations and the wealthy. They'll be getting the most.
That's wrong. If you look at the biggest percentage tax cut, it's for people who make between $20,000 and $30,000 a year. They get a 12% tax cut.
But so for an average family, how much will they be getting back?
Well, let me give you an average. In Louisiana, you're making, mom and dad making $73,000, 2 kids, take standard deduction, which will double. Right now, they're paying about $3,700 in federal income taxes. Now they pay a lot of other taxes. After this bill passes, they'll pay about $1,500, so they'll get $2,000 extra in their take-home pay. That's a lot of money for an average family.
And percentage-wise, I understand that. But for a wealthy person to go from 39 to 37%, that's a pretty big
well, the wealthiest
decrease.
people actually get hurt by this bill. And I'm talking about if you live in California or New York or New Jersey and you pay high state and local taxes, you can no longer deduct them except for $10,000 from your federal income tax. The losers in this bill are people who make between $500,000 or more and live in high tax states like California, New Jersey, Connecticut, New York.
And one of the reasons Senator Bob Corker said he could not support the bill is because he would not go for raising the deficit.
Mm-hmm.
The CBO says the deficit will be raised by between $1 and $1.5 trillion. But then a measure that was not in either of the House or the Senate
mm-hmm.
bill is and this is coming from the International Business Times. They say a new provision effectively creates a new tax deduction for real estate moguls like Donald Trump and Bob Corker, who announced his support for the bill on Friday. It was not in either of the bills. It was a late
mm-hmm.
add-on.
Well, I saw that report about 4:30 this morning. I don't know what it's about. The reduction we do reduce taxes for every business. If you're a C Corp, you go from 35 to 31. If you're a LLC or an LP or a sub-S or a family farm, you go from about 43 to 29.6. Remember, corporations now, that 35 to 31 to 21, they're taxed twice, so that the fact that they're taxed twice isn't taken into consideration.
But this bill also eliminates the mandate for Obamacare.
Yeah, and that's going to really
hurt.
That's going to help Louisiana. Let me tell you why. Last year we had 132,000 people who paid the tax or the fine instead of buying health insurance. 80% of them make $50,000 or less. Well, 50% of them make $25,000 or less. In other words, we have been fining people, making them pay an extra tax for not buying insurance they can't afford.
And why are the corporate tax breaks or the
mm-hmm.
corporate tax cuts permanent? For everybody else, it's not.
I think they'll be de facto permanent. Bush tax cuts were not permanent, but Congress always rolled them over.
And you think that'll be the case this time?
Yeah.
All right, let's do a couple of
I think, Eric, honestly, I looked at this bill carefully. If I thought it would increase the deficit, I wouldn't vote for it. I think it's going to add a half a point to GDP.
So you think the CBO is wrong?
And I think, yeah, I do. They're treating America as a closed economy. We're not. We're an open economy that will have a 50% increase in foreign direct investment. I think you really got to look hard to find something about this bill you don't like.
All right, now if we can look at some local politics, you have been a critic of Colonel Mike Edmonson, the former head of the state police for a long time. You came out and said, see, there's proof. He was doing things he shouldn't have. The Governor John Bell Edwards, a spokesperson, said that where were you all those years? He was living for free while you were state treasurer.
Well, the state treasurer has nothing to do with it. That's the commissioner of administration. John Bell needs to turn to his commissioner of administration, Jay Darden, and ask him why he didn't do anything about it. The truth of the matter
Well, it
is,
was put in during Jindal.
yeah, but John Bell made a deal with the sheriffs to keep him on. Now, I mean, there are two governors responsible for this, are Bobby Jindal and John Bell Edwards. Now, John Bell wants to blame it all on Bobby, but everybody knows that in return for some political deals, he kept Mike Edmonson on. Mike, I remember 5 years ago, Dan Clater and I and C.B. Ferguson, when they passed a special bill to give him $100,000 extra in retirement benefits or something like that, we went to court and got it killed.
Quickly, do you think he's broken the law?
Of course.
Okay, and the other thing that happened the last week, you became a viral sensation when you were questioning a judge appointed by, or at least nominated by President Trump, Matthew Spencer Peterson. This is what happened.
Have you ever tried a jury trial?
I have not.
Civil?
No.
Criminal?
No.
Bench?
No.
State or federal court?
I have not.
Okay. Have you ever taken a deposition?
In my current position, I obviously don't need to stay.
We're only given 5 minutes for 5 of you, so.
Sure.
When's all?
Did you have any idea that he was that inexperienced?
No. But I make two.
But that's what these hearings are for.
That's what they're for. Let me make 2 points. Number one, the president called me day before yesterday. He doesn't interview these guys. He has his staff do it. And he said, Kennedy, I think you're right. Number two, Mr. Peterson's a really smart guy. I read his background check by the FBI, and he's a decent guy. But just because you've seen My Cousin Vinny doesn't qualify you to be a federal judge. And he has no litigation experience. And my job on the Judiciary Committee is to catch him.
So he's not going to be a judge?
And I would strongly suggest he not give up his day job.
Okay. This would not be the first no vote you've given on a Trump appointee.
The president and I get along fine, and he has told me, he said, Kennedy, when some of my guys send somebody over who's not qualified, you do your job. And I said, thank you, Mr. President, and I intend to do that. I've supported most of his appointments.
Are you still 100% behind Mr. Trump?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think he's doing a great job.
Okay. All right. John Kennedy, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Dave?